Hello, my name's Harold. Um, I just do a lot of web surfing, and here lately I've come across a couple of things that were kind of interesting. Number one, I came across a channel called ClickSpring, and being the habitual YouTube addict I am, I watched it, and I got to noticing one thing about this guy's channel is right at first everything was so smooth and shiny and color coordinated. I thought for a little bit there that I was watching an infomercial. You know, I mean, this thing was really neat. All the wood surfaces that are visible are polished wood grain. And his lathe is a colorful red and blue, and and his chuck and his ways and all the metal he cuts shines gold. A shiny gold color, and it looks like the picture is just slick, like as if it run under, uh, a load of clear varnish or something, clear coat, And I was just amazed at that, and I got to thinking, well, no wonder those guys made a comment that all those other guys look like they're professionals when they get up and do a video, and yours obviously, amateur, you know, it's just the real thing, and yeah, this is the real thing. This is a Logitech webcam and Windows Movie Maker and me, and none of the three of us are all that wonderful, except the Logitech webcam's pretty good. Uh, but I was just amazed at how slick that guy's channel was. I looked at all of his stuff, and when he puts on dye, it's in like a translucent red or translucent green, and and he doesn't just sort of smear some around like I do with a magic marker. It's smooth and slick. It goes from one logical division of his part to another, and it's just incredibly visually perfect, I guess you could say. I was, I was just amazed by it. Oh well, and then I went on to another section, and we are kind of living in the day of Big Brother, whether people want to admit it or not, because the government's watching your cell phone, recording everything you do and say. And Windows 10 is just riddled with privacy invasion. You should look up Windows 10 privacy on the web somewhere, and you'll find that everything you say and do goes home to Microsoft too. And they decide on who to send you an ad from what you say in your emails. They have access to your camera and use it, and they have access to your computer microphone and they use it. So yes, we are. We're definitely in the day of Big Brother. Uh, and I'm not one of those conspiracy theory nuts or something like that, because I usually laugh at all that stuff. But this really isn't very funny. But anyway, I come across the guy's channel, and he wanted to know, does freedom of speech offend you? And I guess the answer must be yeah for a lot of people. If you work for a big company, you don't have freedom of speech because they'll run your butt off. If you say something they don't want to hear. If if you put something on your Facebook page that's not politically correct, well, you'll be ostracized, and who knows? They could even go back to getting you fired from your job. Uh, you show me where you can exercise freedom of speech without getting punished for it, and then I'll believe you've got it. You know. I started thinking you don't. Anyway, I think you'd like to watch this guy's video, so I'm gonna put his link to the YouTube video down below so that you can go and see what the man has to say. Uh, I believe it's some sort of an institute, but anyway, I think you'll be interested in what he has to say about freedom of speech. I think these days people don't really care about the First Amendment or the Second Amendment, and maybe not any of the Bill of Rights. They may just be happy if they can watch football and get a couple of beers, and they don't care, whether they actually have any privacy or freedom or anything. I don't know. That's pretty depressing. I don't want to talk about that now. Um, in one of the previous videos, I showed you guys a estate sale purchase that I made, which I don't normally do, but there was a purpose for it. You know, it's going to be a part of a couple of videos. Me and the repairs on that thing. Uh, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to start looking at that belt sander. But before we get into this, I have to tell you about a couple of boys that was playing football up in Alabama there, and a couple of rednecks. And they were on academic probation, and they had to take this test, you know, so that they could be allowed to play. So they had this test, and there was a blank there, you know. It said, "Old MacDonald had a," and a blank. Bubba looked at that. He couldn't figure out what it ought to be, so he punches Tiny. Says, Tiny, what's the answer to that question? Tiny said, "Dang it all, Bubba, you sure are an idiot." He said, "Everybody knows old MacDonald had a farm." So Bubba sits there a little bit, looks at it. He kind of wiggles his pencil, and he says, "Well, Tiny," he says, "how do you spell it?" And Tiny says, "Oh, Bubba," he said, "you are sure a total idiot." He says, "Everybody knows it's spelled E-I-E-I-O." Well, that was your second-rate redneck joke of the week. I'm sure that one of you guys might have smiled. Anyway, let's go on and get on with the sander here. See all the bad news parts. See what we can do about it. Okay, so we are here at the Craftsman sander, and this little part right here may well be why nobody bought it before I showed up, and that's because this guy is somewhat worn down in the hole through the middle. You've got to take that linkage off of there, and I've tried hammering on it with a little hammer impact and such, and I think it just bends this metal. So I'm going to drill the little booger out, and then we'll worry about the screw when we go to put it back together. Well, I'm not making very good progress, am I? But I'm almost there. There we are. Came off. There's a lot of pushing though. Okay, we got that off. Now all I need to do is work that little booger there out, and we will be in business. That was right around that piece right there. Little shoulder, a little washer with it. So I need to keep that in mind for going back together. It's good to find all your parts as they fall out. Alright, so I'll get the wrenches and take it apart. After being subjected to the drill, that screw just came out with my fingers. I unscrewed it. Got to pull this little clip off of there, and then I can pull the wheel out of there, and we'll see how much damage we've got. I like these little snap ring pliers because they got different tips that can be used to squeeze outwards or squeeze inwards, and it comes with, you know, extra pieces there. I don't want to turn it too far and dump them in the floor. And it's come in handy for me on all kinds of equipment for the past 40 years or so. It's I think it's a good design. You pull this little thing out of the middle, and the whole little tip comes off. You just set another one on there. All right, let's take a look at the roller here. See what we've got. Get this stuff out of the way. Container's starting to fall apart. 30 or 40 years of laying around to do that. Alright. Let's see if we can ease the little fella out of there. know we're going to make it come out sooner or later. Have a lot of sawdust in there, but it's coming a little at a time. Or at least I thought it was. I'll have to come back to you on this. Well, you can see that there's a bushing in here in each end. This bushing is just about completely worn out. The one in this end is still in good shape. He only goes in about a ½ inch. This one looks like he goes in more than an inch. So I'll clean the little boogers out of there, and I'll go to Redneck Supply and see if I can't get a replacement for those guys. And the shaft seems to be in good shape. It's get some of the sawdust off of it. It's been running down there in that down in the bushing, so it doesn't look like it's got a lot of wear. I'll mic it and see, but I think it'll do for going back in there with a new bushing. At least that's what it looks to me like. So it's off to Redneck Supply to see if I can get bushings. Well, I just got back from Redneck Supply, and there's not a piece of bushing material there that I can cut to be 12 millimeters on the inside and 17 on the outside, so looks like I may have to make it, which means I've got to find the right piece of brass. So we'll be back much later. Well, today I'm going to use the 3-jaw chuck and this nice piece of brass, which I'm sure won't fit down the headstock. Now I'm going to have to cut it off a little bit, come over here and mount it into the end of the chuck, and we're going to make bushings. Be right back. Of course, the job starts with cutting off a piece of metal, so that's our first step, and then we'll chuck it up. And like you'd figure, facing off is the first step here. We're going, well, we don't have any electricity for some reason. Alright, we've got it now. Be right back. Alright, let's start with placing it off. This doesn't have to be very perfect because most of that diameter is going to go away anyway to make this bushing. So let's get in here and start the center hole. This thing, the hole in the bushing is going to be 12 millimeters, and so I'm going to drill close as I can get to 12 millimeters. And I may not bore it all the way for both of them the first time. I may just bore for one, cut it off, and then bore for another. I don't know. We'll think about that while we're doing it. If you stick that boring bore out too far, it gets kind of floppy. So I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so now then I've got to make the outside of this thing. I'm going to make this particular part of it, and this will be saved for the last. I figure this was probably a good ½ inch at least. Okay, I popped out the other bushing, which was pretty well intact, and 630 thousandths is this outside piece here, and that's what we'll go down to. And of course I'm already turned down to hit this size here, and we'll even duplicate that little piece probably. Anyway, we need to get on with going down to 630 thousandths. Yeah, that's going to slide in. So next thing to do will be to part this thing off, and I'm going to use the regular old Atlas parting tool. That'll do the job. I'll be back when I got it located. I like to set up an indicator when I'm parting things off so that I can get just pretty well right with whatever I'm measuring. So this is 450 thousandths all the way to the widest part, which is the little part out here. So that's what I'm going to try for first, and then I may skim off just a little bit so that it's got that piece sticking out. And I guess you noticed that was a bozo. I didn't bore the stupid thing, but I can bore it outside of there. I'll just have to use the 4-jaw chuck. But that was a dumb move, wasn't it? Parting it off before I bored it. Oh well, I'll be back. This is the smallest boring bar I've got, and this side right here I'm worried about dragging on the hole, so it's going to be kind of touch and go to get that thing in there and get it just right. But we'll give it a shot. I still got to bore that other one out. I have ordered a 12mm reamer, and I may wind up having to wait for that. Alright, so that fits. I don't know if it's tight or loose, but it fits, so I'm going to guess that's about right. So next I'll go and do the same I did on the other one. I'll part it off, and there's no use repeating that again. So we're close to finished anyway. There's the extra work I was forced into. I got it down about a 1/2 thousandth from dead on. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it. So there we go. We'll bore this little sucker out, and since you watched me bore the other bushing, there's no need to watch me bore this one. When I get this one bored out, we'll be through. Well, through boring anyway. Alright, so shove the last one in, and we'll be in business here. Need to bolt this thing down, but there we go. We're in business, and next step, put the axle in and put it back together. Alright, it's back together. There's no side slop, and there's no slop of any kind in there. It's just back together. So that was in a little close, wasn't it? It's in here and it's ready to go. Find the screw to replace the one that goes in here. Mount this little guy in there and put a belt on it. I'll be right back as soon as I dig up a few parts.
I think I'm going back together with a better fit this time. Turn the wrong way. No more Phillips head on the screw anyway. This thing's just spinning. I thought it was doing something. Dang bastard. Alright. Well, I'll have to come back with something that fits. Well, I figured this tiny little socket set would come in handy again. It does all the time. Make sure everything's still straight there. There's a little sleeve around this bolt, so when it comes down tight, it won't be restricting the movement. It'll just be tight. I expect that should be tight enough. So this guy, let's hook him on down here. And we'll come up and hook him on up here. I've done something wrong. I'm not certain. No, guess not. Well, it's tight when you put it like that. So I didn't do anything wrong for the first time. Well, alright, now I do have some belts for this thing. Let me get a belt and I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. There's still a part not in there. And that's the little adjuster for the thing to lean one way or the other. I got in kind of a hurry there, didn't I? So I got to figure out where I put it and put it on there. So I guess you'll have to wait till I find that little screw and I'll be right back. The little screw goes right in here. And I've got washers and such for it, so I know that it's going to go there. A washer on the inside. I don't know if I've got enough fingers and toes to do this or not. Well, we're certainly going to try. Put that guy on. And there's the spring. It's kind of on. And then the last washer. This is fun. All right. There we go. Starting to get a grip on it now. Okay, so move this little guy on here. Tighten this fella up until things start to line up a little bit. Lift him up. Let's see if the belt runs off the side. Yeah. All right. Let's see. That would mean it's too much that way, I guess. You need to back it off like that. Alright, now then, let's see if that'll run right. Well, that's in the middle. I don't know why it's making that noise, but something's touching the little disc. All right, so it looks like I don't know what that noise is. I'll have to find that. That's not overly normal, but at least the idler pulley is on there and repaired, and I have to figure out what's the next thing causing noise. Something's rubbing. I'll fix that. So anyway, thanks for watching, and subscribe if you take a notion to, and you can even push the like or dislike button if you feel like it. If you didn't like it especially, I want to know. And leave a comment. Comments are even more helpful than anything else. We'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.